Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for January the 8th, 2021. We will be discussing the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. We have a main event set for that pay-per-view. Another match was made official, and also something happened to Nia Jax's hole. I kid you not. We will be talking about the whole show. Let's get to it. Shout out to the chat room for tuning in live, and thank you to everybody watching this on demand as well. And make sure you subscribe to the channel over at youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ and turn on the notification bell for updates. Let's get started. We kicked off Raw with official Adam Pearce introducing Shane McMahon, the first time we have seen Shane on television since Raw Underground. Shane basically showed up and did not do much. He announced that at Elimination Chamber, there will be a chamber match for the WWE Championship. And Adam Pearce announced the participants. We have, of course, the champion, Drew McIntyre, defending his title against Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, The Miz, and Sheamus. AJ Styles made his way to the ring and talked about how there is a phenomenal chance of McIntyre losing his title, posted how he will become a 3-time champion, and then Jeff Hardy came out for a match with AJ Styles. Now, my take on this, I'm not the biggest fan of the chamber match being for the title. I feel like the chamber match should be a second chance for somebody to get an opportunity at WrestleMania. But that's just my opinion. I feel like it's unfair to Drew McIntyre also. Like in the storyline, why is he being put through this, having to defend his title in the Elimination Chamber? And why do these other guys get this opportunity? On the positive side, I'm glad that we're not getting a series of qualifying matches, because I think that's overdone with the qualifying matches. They do it for Money in the Bank. They do it for the Royal Rumble. But yeah, I personally would prefer having the chamber match be for a title opportunity rather than be for the championship. And to answer Brian, I am not sure why Adam Pearce is not called the commissioner. He's just a WWE official. Anyways, we had AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy. Match was fine. We've seen them wrestle numerous times throughout the pandemic. They fought many times on Smackdown. We had AJ going after the knee of Jeff Hardy, and eventually, after Jeff Hardy made a comeback, he hit the twist of fate. He crawled to the corner because his knee was hurt, and he took too much time, basically. He missed a swanton, and AJ put on the calf crusher and tapped out Jeff Hardy. Now, on one hand, I liked this because Omos did not do his usual interfering and being the difference maker. On the other hand, I feel bad for Jeff because Jeff is just doing so many jobs as of late. Now, of course, once he comes back to No More Words, maybe at WrestleMania, people will forget about that. They'll be popping for him, and Jeff can get his big push at that point. Maybe that's the end game with all this. But yeah, Jeff is not exactly having the best win-loss record at the moment. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, first one of the evening. Thank you for that. Says, are we still getting Sheamus versus McIntyre at WrestleMania? That I'm not so sure about. And speaking of that question, I was going to bring that up here during this next segment, which was Shane McMahon backstage leaving. Drew McIntyre approached him and was frustrated. He would have appreciated a heads up from Shane, And Shane was like, well, this is your chance to be a fighting champion at the pay-per-view. And Shane said, we need a big match for Elimination Chamber. In other words, McIntyre versus Sheamus was not a big enough match. They had to do the chamber match. I mean, WWE kind of buried McIntyre versus Sheamus in this segment. And that's my opinion on it. Now, could it still happen? Yeah. Maybe Sheamus shocks the world and wins the title at the pay-per-view, and then McIntyre gets his rematch at WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about predictions next week, but the way this was set up and the announcers making a big deal, like how the odds are stacked against McIntyre, I think McIntyre is going to retain. And the only thing next for him is Brock Lesnar. I mean, I still think it's going to be Brock. Brock will come to the U.S. from Canada and do this match. Like, I don't think we're going to see Sheamus versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. I really don't. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, what would shock the world is a Big Show heel turn. Well, at this point, I think Big Show showing up would be a shock because he never appears. But yeah, I would love a Big Show heel turn and then a face turn and then a heel turn. We got to have him at WrestleMania to do some kind of turn. We just have to have it. You know, with the first event, fans returning, we got to do something big. We got to go Big Show or go home. We had Sheamus backstage angry with Adam Pearce because, well, he wanted his singles match with McIntyre. But again, Pearce was saying they need to have the biggest match possible for the Chamber pay-per-view. You got to have a Chamber match at the Chamber pay-per-view after all. Whatever. We had New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods reunited together up against T-Bar and Slapjack from Retribution. I do not care about Retribution. I had little to no interest in this match. Ali was on commentary, usual stuff, saying how the company's evil, blah, 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 and the New Day's lives are literally at stake. Yeah, whatever, Ali. And he was barking orders at T-Bar. But Kofi Kingston, the WWE champion, he is not a man to take lightly. And Kofi, even though he got taken out early in the match, he made the hot tag. He hit the tip, the Trouble in Paradise, to T-Bar, knocking T-Bar off the apron. And then Kofi and Xavier hit the Daybreak double team finisher to pin Slapjack. Match was okay, but like I said, not really interested in anything that Retribution does at this point. We had Ric Flair come to the ring for an interview with Lacey Evans to explain his actions. And thankfully, it was not the, I don't owe you people an explanation. Ric actually had an explanation. And he said that he doesn't take orders from any woman. We should all know this based off of his history, especially his daughter. He's not going to stay home. He is going to train Lacey Evans. And he said the relationship is just casual. And he added that Lacey will be coming for Asuka's championship. And Lacey got on the mic and said that she treats Ric Flair like the legend that he is, unlike the ungrateful daughter, Charlotte. Charlotte arrived and said that Lacey could do it the hard way and work her ass off at the Performance Center, but instead she's latching on to Ric Flair, her father. And Lacey pitched the idea of them actually not being enemies, but rather a tag team. Charlotte, of course, turned this down, and a fight broke out, and we had this match. And Lacey did mention that if she was able to beat Charlotte, the WWE officials would be granting her a championship match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So we had this match, and Lacey took a cheap shot to start the match, and during the match, she would hide behind Rick to gain the upper hand and would use Rick several times for her advantage. And eventually, Charlotte just snapped. She went to town on Lacey, and then she pie-faced the referee, losing her temper. Referee, of course, called for the bell, which means that Lacey Evans gets the title match. So Lacey Evans gets a title match because Charlotte Flair lost her temper. All right, then. I guess that's how you build challengers. You have them win because the opponent lost their cool. Adrian with the €2 super chat. Thank you, Adrian. Says, Lacey having a casual ride on Space Mountain. Yep, just nice casual ride. And now she's coming for Asuka's championship at the pay-per-view. And I guess we'll see if we get a shock win, but I'm thinking not. Again, we'll do predictions next week, but yeah, I think this is just something for Asuka to do to get to the next pay-per-view. And Charlotte will probably cost Lacey the match. But who knows? Maybe Lacey actually wins the title. I mean, anything can happen in WWE, right? Moving on here, we had Edge come to the ring for a promo. And he basically talked about how it was an amazing week, winning the Rumble, yada, yada, yada. And talked about his decision, and he is going to wait because now the landscape has changed and we don't know who the WWE champion is going to be. He basically acted like, Roman Reigns is the champ. It's a sure thing. Finn Balor's the champ. It's a sure thing. So kind of burying Pete Dunne. He should be saying, well, I got to wait and see what happens. Maybe Pete Dunne will win the championship, but no, nothing about that. It's all about who's going to leave Elimination Chamber, and he has to wait now until after the Chamber pay-per-view. We had The Miz along with John Morrison and Angel Garza interrupt Garza's first appearance on Raw in a while because he had a scheduled matchup against Damian Priest. And we had Miz basically teasing the Money in the Bank cash-in, and Edge was like, you know what? I've been there before. I was the guy that started Money in the Bank. And Edge said he knows that Miz is going to try and do it, and he'll be ready for him. And Edge took his leave. We had the match. And by the way, Bad Bunny was out there once again. I guess with no touring and the pandemic, he can make several appearances on Raw. The WWE president, not Tony Khan, Nick Khan, said that we should expect to see more Bad Bunny on WWE TV. So if you love Bad Bunny, then you definitely want to check out Raw more often. We had this match here, and, Miz and Morrison trying to interfere. Bad Bunny was getting frustrated, but then Bad Bunny had a plan. You see, Bad Bunny is a big fan. He's been watching WWE, so he grabbed the Money in the Bank contract and slipped it into the ring. Morrison went to get it, and the referee at this point kicked out John Morrison and The Miz from the match. And then Garza got distracted by the Bunny, Bad Bunny, not the Bunny back in the day, the Bunny, the Easter Bunny in the costume. We had Garza fall victim to the distraction. So stupid heel, which is, of course, better than a stupid baby face. And Reckoning via Damian Priest picked up the 1, 2, 3. And there was the celebration with Priest and Bad Bunny, not Adam Rose's Bunny. You got Adam Pearce, Adam Rose. You got the Bunny. You got Bad Bunny. There you go. There's a tag team match. You can have Adam Pearce and Adam Rose versus Bad Bunny and Adam Rose's Bunny. What a tag match that would be. We had Drew McIntyre interviewed backstage, and he said if Sheamus wanted a title match, all he had to do was ask. But, of course, Sheamus had to be a dick And now Drew McIntyre has to focus on Randy Orton in this main event match on Raw. And he said he's backed into a corner, but he's not going to crack under pressure. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, Bad Bunny versus Rambling Rabbit in a carrot on a pole match. I like it. Let's do it. Or how about Bad Bunny versus Ricochet, carrot on a pole match, just so Ricochet has something to do. How about that? We had Bianca Belair interviewed, and she said it's her time, but it's not time to announce her opponent just yet. Like Edge, she's going to wait and see what happens. And Asuka interrupted the promo and said that even though Bianca won the Rumble, she might be ready for some things, but she's not ready for Asuka. And Bianca said that she's going to wait and see what happens. She doesn't think Lacey Evans is ready for Asuka. And if Asuka is successful in retaining her title at the pay-per-view, we might be seeing more of Bianca Belair on Monday Night Raw. We had the return of Keith Lee, who's been out of action since the Raw Legends night, up against Matt Riddle. And interestingly enough, this was the first ever match between the two of them on a WWE television show. They never competed against each other in NXT. So yeah, first time matchup and really good match between these guys. I thought it was a really solid match given the amount of time they had. Riddle had a black eye. I'm not sure if that happened from last week's Raw or if something else happened, but Riddle had a black eye, and they had a sign of respect before the match. They did a fist bump. MVP was out there on commentary with the U.S. title. Pretty solid match here, like I said. And you had Riddle go for the floating bro, got a near fall, but he could not put Lee away no matter what he did. And then Lee came back and hit the win with the Spirit Bomb. And as Adrian says, they gave away the match for free. Well, we'll probably be seeing them wrestle a lot more in the future. So this was just the first of many, and it was really inevitable that they would be wrestling on Raw. And now they'll probably have 10 matches before the year is over. And I ain't even joking with you guys. You know, we're probably going to see these guys wrestle like a dozen times in the next calendar year. And you can quote me on that one. And after the match was over, Keith Lee was a good sport, helping up Riddle. And then Bobby Lashley, not such a good sport, attacked Lee from behind, put the Hurt Lock on Riddle, and then used the steel steps on Lee. And even though he lost, Matt Riddle's getting rewarded because at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, it will be a triple threat match for the U.S. title. Bob the Lash defending against Riddle and Keith Lee. I guess, again, I'm jumping ahead with predictions, but my gut instant feeling on this is that this match is so Riddle can take the fall and keep Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley from losing in a match. Just how I'm sensing it. And I'd like to see one-on-one Lashley versus Keith Lee at WrestleMania. So if that's the end game, then I suppose I'm okay with this. And yeah, Lashley's pounce or bum rush or Keith Lee. Yeah, the thing that Brian Spencer was talking about was cool, but I'm thinking about something that I did not mention was when Keith Lee did this bum rush / pounce to Matt Riddle during the match. I thought that was maybe the coolest part of the match. TJS with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Tyler. Says, answer at the end. Okay, I will answer this at the end, but hopefully I don't forget about it. I appreciate the super chat, TJS, but you could have thrown it at the end also. Hopefully I remember now. So somebody's going to have to remind me to find his super chat. Otherwise, I might forget. We had a recap of Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, showing all the stuff that they've had going on throughout the past several months. And we then had an Orton promo vowing to take back his championship at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. We then had a tables match between Nia Jax and Lana. And I told you guys earlier about Nia's hole. So let's talk about Nia's hole. Mike B sent in a $1 super sticker, which on StreamYard does not come through, unfortunately. Maybe somebody can tell me what the sticker is. Tables match here. We had a recap of the 9 times Lana went through a table. Shayna was there in Nia's corner, and Naomi was in Lana's corner. Nia pretty much dominated the match, but then Lana was laid out on the apron, and Nia went for a leg drop on the apron, but she missed and apparently landed hole first on the apron, the hardest part of the ring. She was screaming and just crying out in agony, and she screamed out, "My hole!" Her hole was really hurting, like bad, because she just could not stop hollering. And then Lana took advantage of this and shoved Nia Jax into the table that was set up to the side on the outside of the ring up against the barricade. And Nia Jax lost to Lana in a tables match. Nia Jax, I just feel bad for her hole. And Lana, she finally gets her revenge on Nia Jax after being put through the table 9 times. So anyways, after the match was over, Shayna Baszler attacked Lana, but then Naomi made the save. And after the commercial, this led to a one-on-one match between Naomi and Shayna Baszler. This match was just unnecessary. TV time filler. That's really all it was. The game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Nia Jax injuring her hole was funny. At least Hogan would never do that in his career. Well, it's possible Hogan hurt his hole many times, and he was a man, so he couldn't show any emotion, and he kept it to himself. But yeah, we should tweet Hulk Hogan and ask him if he ever hurt his hole from missing a leg drop. Maybe at WrestleMania 6 he hurt his hole when he missed the leg drop, trying to hit it to the Ultimate Warrior, and that's how he got beat, right? Because he missed that leg drop. I mean, surely it wasn't the Warrior's lame-ass splash that put away Hogan. It must have been Hogan hurt his hole at the end of WrestleMania 6, and that's how the Ultimate Warrior scored that pinfall victory over Hulk Hogan. But anyways, I told you guys I would be doing a review of the whole episode of Monday Night Raw, and we still have a little bit more to go. So let's get to it. We had this match between Naomi and Shayna, and Shayna had the Cure for You to clutch on, but Naomi got to the rope, and then Shayna went to the outside of the ring and attacked Lana. By the way, Nia Jax was actually helped to the back. That's how bad her hole was injured in that match. Like, she could not even come back out there. And Shayna attacked Lana, went back into the ring, and then Naomi with an immediate inside cradle picked up the victory. And, you know, like I said, this was filler. Not really necessary. We had a video package for the Elimination Chamber, and then we had our main event, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. And, you know, Randy Orton went for the RKO right away, and then Drew McIntyre went for the Claymore. Orton escaped. Sheamus ran down for the distraction, and stupid babyface Drew McIntyre, of course, got distracted. Randy Orton dominated. Pretty standard match between these guys, what you would expect. And you had Orton hit the draping DDT, but then Drew McIntyre countered an RKO attempt, hitting the Future Shock DDT. Sheamus ran in for a bro kick, but McIntyre moved. Orton got hit with the bro kick. And then you had McIntyre hit the Claymore onto Sheamus, and that was the end of Monday Night Raw. The ending, again, it felt like time filler. Show was not bad though overall. I thought Raw was a decent show this week. I'd probably go with a B-. Yeah, I'm thinking B- for Raw. It wasn't a terrible show. It was fairly decent by Raw standards. It still dragged a bit. I'm glad we got something with the Ric Flair storyline where he actually explained his actions, but I'm still not super invested in a lot of the storylines. And like I said, I would have preferred the Elimination Chamber match to be for an opportunity at the title at WrestleMania rather than be for the championship. TGS says my super chat in a C. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a C+, as well as Gamazon 100 and MVP Kev and Asim. They all went with C+. Dylan Falk with a C, and Lars Kirsch with a B, and Marquand 1976 with an A- for Nia Jax injuring her hole. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, and then we'll get to TJS, says, will Shane McMahon have a match at WrestleMania? He might. I mean, maybe that's why he came back to plant the seeds for a match. Hopefully it's not Shane versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. Oh, man, that would be rough, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's get to TJS's super chat. Back at it. Says, what did you think of Triple H winning at WrestleMania 19? Opponent was at his peak and was never the same after. One of the worst booking decisions ever. Of course, TGS is making reference to Booker T. And yeah, that whole storyline was awkward. And I remember Triple H's promo, kind of racy towards Booker T. And yeah, Booker T ended up not beating Triple H at WrestleMania. And yeah, that definitely hurt his momentum. Maybe Booker T could have had a solid babyface run as champion. But yeah, a lot of people did not like the storyline and they did not like the match. And yeah, the match was pretty disappointing too. Not the highlight of WrestleMania 19. WrestleMania 19 was a great show. Had a lot of big moments, but yeah, Booker T and Triple H was not one of the highlights of that WrestleMania. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your viewership and support as always. And again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and rumors. Stay positive, but not COVID positive. Be safe, and I will see you guys next time.